Yo. Analytics off the chain, other channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. I'm a headliner.
Yo, what is going on, Headliner Nation? Breaking news in the NFL, and you know we love to bring in that breaking news as quickly as possible. The Tennessee Titans are expected to walk away from Julio Jones and release him and make him a free agent, a very short-lived stint there in Tennessee. But before I get into it and break it down and what it means for Tennessee, just want to let everybody know, if you didn't see it in our last video, doing an autographed Dalvin Cook jersey giveaway this week. All you got to do is head over to Pristine Auction, create a free account, code word headliners when you do that. They're going to give you a free $10 off coupon. Make sure you like this video and then comment below, and then we will be picking somebody at the end of the week to win that jersey. So go create that account over on Pristine Auction. But it is time to get into it. We need to talk about Julio Jones a little bit more, what it means for him, what it means for Tennessee, and lots of different things along with it. So for Julio Jones, this is going to be a post-June 1st designation. So they are going to end up saving a little bit of money. Now, not a ton, not enough to be earth-shattering or anything like that, but it does look like there is going to be some dead cap along with it. They'll be saving this season about $11.5 million total, and then they will have some dead cap over the next couple of years. It looks like 2.8 and then 8.4 million left on his deal. So Julio Jones, now obviously last year was a throwaway season for him, but last year was the first season in his career that he did not finish as a top 15 PPR wide receiver. Injuries were a big issue for him last year, and even when he did play, the chemistry with Ryan Tannehill absolutely was not there. Per Diana Rossini and Adam Schefter, Rappaport's tweeting it now, everybody's tweeting it now, Julio Jones is expected to be released. It is going to be a post-June 1st designation, but he will still be allowed to become a free agent right now. So this is going to change some of the landscape in terms of what we see for free agents, because we already know Jarvis Landry is still out there. We know the big name, Allen Robinson, is still out there. Juju's still out there. Will Fuller is still out there. So there are still several really good wide receiver options. But for Julio Jones, you have to believe that somebody, somewhere is going to take a shot at him. Who is it going to be, though? That is the biggest question. For me personally, it's going to have to be a contender. I don't really see Julio Jones going to a team that doesn't have a shot to potentially win a title this year. Now, me just kind of throwing out a couple of names here and there that maybe or may not make sense, kind of depending on what you're thinking, if you're thinking along the same lines as I am. But a team maybe like Kansas City, right? If he can play on the other side of Tyreek Hill in Kansas City, that could be a huge addition to that offense. And obviously, it would be a step in the right direction to help him win some games. There has been a little speculation on Twitter that maybe this is coming at a time when we could hear very soon that Deshaun Watson could be going to Atlanta, because if that happens, maybe he's going to go back to Atlanta and team up with Deshaun Watson. However, again, is that really something that we're looking at in terms of winning? Is Atlanta really going to be able to win this year? People are joking that it could be a team like Tampa Bay, because you know, Tom Brady seems to scoop up all the aging veterans and bring them in, and then they just absolutely go crazy. But they just signed former teammate Russell Gage, so I really don't think that they would be bringing in Julio Jones or bringing Julio Jones in there to Tampa Bay. They've already made some moves, and obviously you'll have Chris Godwin back at some time in the near future. Other teams that could potentially be taking a look at him, maybe the Saints. Maybe the Saints try to get involved a little bit if they end up getting Deshaun Watson and they try to bring him to town and help out there. The Las Vegas Raiders could end up being a decent point for Julio Jones as well. Again, that's going to be a really tough decision, and Las Vegas is kind of looking at the number 4 team in that division right now, so I don't know if that necessarily helps them too much. Maybe going to a team like New England that doesn't really have that guy, that number 1, right? Maybe going to a team like New England could really help out. The Lions, yes, they just ended up, spending a little bit of money on DJ Chark, and they brought back Josh Reynolds. But when a guy like Julio Jones shows up, got to take a look at that as well. So there are some different options out there for him. The Philadelphia Eagles could end up being an option as well for him to go to. That could definitely help out. The Dolphins have made some moves at the wide receiver position, so more than likely they are out at this point. The Cowboys could be an interesting, they just moved on from Amari Cooper. If they can get Julio Jones on a really nice deal that isn't going to hurt him too much, he could be going there to be with Dak Prescott. So there's definitely going to be some options for Julio Jones and some opportunity for him to sign somewhere and really get back on board, get himself healthy and get himself moving forward. Now, what does it mean for the Tennessee Titans? Now, let's talk about that for a second, because this surprised me, actually, because they don't really have anybody. They have Dez Fitzpatrick that could play in the slot. They have, Nick Westbrook, having him playing on the outside. But, those are guys that, right, they're not really anything to be excited about, nothing to really write home about, and they're clearly not even close to being on Julio Jones' stature. So to move on from Julio Jones, it's kind of a wonder why they decided to do that. Personally, I feel like something else has to be in the works. A Juju, an Allen Robinson, some of those guys that we already talked about a little bit, potentially being in the works right now for Tennessee. Maybe a draft pick of a wide receiver could help them out as well, but they're not really going to have the weapons there. And again, they've had they had issues last year. Julio Jones was supposed to come in and help out after Corey Davis left, after Jonnu Smith left, both of those guys gone. They bring in Julio Jones. That doesn't end up working out, but they don't really have a number 2 next to A.J. Brown right now. Nowhere. Derrick Henry is supposed to be back and feeling healthy, which is great. Obviously, coming back towards the end of the season, was something that a lot of people didn't even anticipate last year. And then all of a sudden, rumors were it was going to happen. Then it got closer, and it was incredible. It was incredible. So, for Derrick Henry, when you take a look at him, he's going to be hopefully 100% fully healthy heading into the season. But they've run the ball so much that they just start stacking the box. They're going to need a third option. They're going to need somebody to help them kind of pull people away from A.J. Brown, keep people out of the box, and give Ryan Tannehill another opportunity and another weapon that could see some decent targets and keep, just keep things a little bit more on the open side for the superstars there. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing, which route they end up going. But we do know at this point, Julio Jones more than likely will be released. He'll be moving on to a different team. We'll be monitoring that. When that signing happens, we'll be breaking it down here on the Fantasy Headliners, just like everything else. Don't forget, we're giving away that Dalvin Cook autographed jersey. Create a free account over at Pristine Auction, code word Headliners. They're going to give you a free $10 ticket for whatever you want, win something. Go bid $10 towards it right there. Leave a comment, like the video. If you're new here, subscribe. Appreciate everybody. I'm going to get done, though, because there is a very good chance we could have more breaking news, and I need to be ready for it. So everybody have a great rest of the day, and I'll catch you all on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.
Analytics off the chain, other channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. Y'all stuck on third down. Your content's plain Jane. Headliners on top now. We gonna move and change. Podcast off the rip. Draft guide, so legit. Fantasy world, our game tight. We about that chub life. Stuck in a rut and you need some motivation. Head to the channel for this Headliner Nation. I'm a headliner.